guidance is that if it's below 100 millirem a year above the normal background, we're going to consider it completely safe and no additional actions need to be taken. If we're getting between 100 and 500 millirem a year above the normal background, then we're going to consider whether anything needs to be done. In most cases, that's going to be education and radon testing of interior structures. The biggest hazard that we find from having structures built on post-phosphate mine land is indoor radon levels. There's a couple of ways to take care of those, of course, using radon-resistant construction when the structure is originally built. And you can also do post-build remediation efforts, sub-slab ventilation, extra ventilation inside the house, vapor barriers, things like that. Above 500 millirem a year above the normal background, we would recommend to the EPA that they undertake remediation of those lands. It's important that you realize that the exposures we're talking about, that 100, 500, and above, those are built upon occupancy rates. If that 100 is built upon an exposure of 22 micro-R an hour, meaning 6 micro-R an hour for their background plus 18 micro-R an hour above the normal background, being exposed to it for 18 hours a day for 50 weeks a year. So we're assuming in that case that somebody is actually living on that property in a structure 2 hours a day outdoors, 16 hours a day indoors, 50 weeks a year, allowing 2 weeks for vacation and other activities. If the exposure is greater than 22, but they're only there for a much shorter amount of time, we take that into effect when we look at the calculations that we build and whether those levels are going to be considered hazardous to humans. I want to talk a little bit about the actual survey that we did. In October the 17th, I believe, we took our mobile radiation survey system out. It consists of a Radiation Solutions Incorporated RS-700 system. This has 2 large volume 4-liter detectors. They're sodium iodide scintillator detectors. We put it into the back of a UTV. It has a GPS system attached to it, so we know where every single measurement was taken. And it takes a gamma exposure rate measurement every second and then records it. So over the course of the survey, we collected almost 7,500 separate gamma measurements. We went to every accessible area, every accessible road in the park that we could get to, and then we made particular attention in actually going around to the areas where the camping sites were. We tried to drive over every single camping site because we knew those are areas where people tend to spend more time. We also took handheld detectors, as shown over here, a Radon PRD, which is a sodium iodide-based detector. It's calibrated for gamma dose rate, and we used this on the interior of all the structures in the park, all the bathrooms, the shower houses, the pavilions, and also areas that we couldn't access with the vehicle.